Carl and Dan here from Games, Brains and a Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial.com for short. And it's track by track time, a Dan choice here, as we're doing a fairly modern album from 5th of February 2021, released via Rising Empires. It is To Kill Achilles, Something to Remember Me by the Scottish Quintet, and this is their second album. I just want to give you a quick rundown of the concept behind this album. This record is the story of a man who wakes up on his 25th birthday and the events that happen throughout the course of a year that lead him to take his own life. Exactly 1 year on to the date. Each song represents a month in his life with the exception of 2 moments of reflection. In each of the songs, they tell a story that a member of the band has been through over the last few years. Every song is real and it's a portrayal of how they felt in that moment. That is, I wanted to get that out there because one of the things I think is most important about this album is the honesty and the that honesty and believability that comes through from To Kill Achilles. Around the time this album was released, you know, I did the album review. I got to speak to the frontman in an interview and all that. So it really brought a lot of this into focus for me and something I was able to understand as well. We would then go on to see them play live at the Black Heart, covering majority of this album as well, and that was a very incredible period, incredible show with emotion and stuff like that. I've got a lot of love for this band and I've got a lot of love for this album.
Yeah, you sent it to me like really early last year and I fell in love with it, you know, and it ended up being my album of the year for last year, so I'm going to be a little bit biased naturally. Which I think it's interesting that it was my album of the year as well, because it was released so early and the fact that it kind of kept my attention throughout the year. And still, even now, I'm like, I fancy listening to a bit of To Kill Achilles. I'm going to stick it on.
Well, here's something cool, though. There's a united front on this, and not just between us. So I think it was in my top 20 because it was in Brendan's top 10 albums of last year. He also shares a lot of love for this band as well. In fact, the only reason I believe he wasn't able to go to that gig was because he was at a wedding. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a bit more united on this front as well. We should know as well, and of course, Lou is a To Kill Achilles fan as well. She was at that show, so there you go. So this is one of these rare things where you're probably just going to get us gushing about To Kill Achilles here. But we're, of course, going to go through the tracks. And we begin with 4%. And what a way to open this album up. A heaving and furious blast of alternative and post-metal that opens what is Chaotic Pit. Immediately, the passion that this album has is clear as day, and there's no arguing with the energy on show. And just for good measure, I love the breakdown.
Fucking banger. Yeah. It gets me going, and I want to see them again just to hear this song.
Yeah.
That pick it up, like, oh. It's brilliant. I love the beat down. I love the flow of it. It's great. It gets me going. It really does. It's a great album opener because it's. I love it. Obviously, a lot of the album's quite sad, but kind of with sadness can kind of come anger, and I think that this represents that really well.
It is. It's a great start to the album. To be honest, man, it just gets better from there. As we get In Vain, riffs, drum beats, bass hooks, all thrown around with complete abandon. The melodic edge that this one has, alongside the vocal cord tearing singing, makes this a track with a hammer blow of a hit. This is one of the best tracks on the album.
I literally say that about every single song. Like,
well, you know we're gonna have to do top 3, so.
Oh, fucking hell. Opens up immediately. Beautiful chordy riff, super catchy verses and fantastic lead pans, and I really like the beatdown in it. I always love a beatdown, and they do it really well. It's not overdone, it's nice and chill, and it works really well. And the ending with the big solo, great. I love it.
Yeah, chances are if you give these first 2 tracks 4% and In Vain a go on the album, you'll be sold. You'll be more than willing to carry on.
Definitely. I was.
Yeah, absolutely. Luna et Altum. For how wild it is and how uncouth it can sound, the levity that a track like this offers is quite startling. Yet it is also so very exciting, with more detail, more melodic highs and crunchy lows. It's another massive sounding track. The vocals are immense, and I love the piano outro.
Yeah, the piano reprisal at the end.
Yep.
It's like one of my favorite things on the entire album.
Mm-hmm.
That that lead pattern into like the chorus, so good. I wrote a gut-wrenching bridge. I think it's a really good song, and it just keeps the flow going. It's fast, just keeps up that freneticity, but then it slows down, and it's like, this doesn't feel out of place.
No, that's one of the best things about this album. And To Kill Achilles overall is how they combine, as you say, that frenetic energy with, oh, here's melody, here's melodic flow, but it's not going to feel like a sharp stop, like someone slammed the emergency brakes on in a car and you've jolted forward. It's more of a slow, gradual, comfortable move into it and then back up. Go for the gears.
Yeah. And yeah, the piano reprisal at the end, amazing.
Absolutely. So when this album was first coming about, of course, there were singles released, and there was one track that was the one that got my attention more than any other. It was the first one I'd properly heard from To Kill Achilles, and it was the one that made me go, huh? Who are these? And let me check them out. It was, oh God, I've never felt this low. And for me, this is the band hitting their absolute peak on this album, devastatingly emotive and destructively concentrated. If by chance, if by some miracle, you've not felt much up to this point, you will now. It is an on-the-nose song lyrically, but that doesn't stop it having impact. The guitars are, though, the star of this track. But to be honest, I think this is as near perfect as To Kill Achilles could ever do, a track they could ever do. I wonder, will it ever be able to top this?
I could see that. Yeah, lyrically, it hits hard, really hard. It's one of my favorites on the album. That lead guitar intro is absolutely beautiful, and the lyrics are fucking brilliant.
Yep.
They are heart-wrenching, and they are so clearly from like this place. When it slows down, it's really nice. It goes into that massive bridge section, and it doesn't feel like you've just been in a car crash. It feels like just they've done it so well. Yeah, brilliant song.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I've been very surprised if you'd turn around and gone like, oh yeah, no, this is one that doesn't work for me or something like that.
No, obviously I didn't have the kind of thing with the singles. I just listened to the entire album because I didn't know them beforehand. You sent it to me and I just listened to it like all the way through. And this one definitely stood out. Even when we saw it live, I just heard that lead and I was like, yes.
Yeah, I remember. I can actually, funny enough, remember a lot from that show. So, and I remember this and being very happy when it got played. We continue on. Black Marble, a bit different as we have a focused post-metal airiness wrapped up in a shorter run type. I like this one, again, because it has a lot of feeling to it.
Yeah, it's a bit different. It's more melodic and kind of ambient. But I really like how they use the kind of delay and like reverby stuff between the verses. You got like some strings back there as well, and I'm all for it.
Yeah, we probably it's a good positioning as well, I think, more than anything else, considering what we've just come out of. It almost gives you a chance to take a breather.
Yeah, I agree.
The wonderfully titled "When You Live with Ghosts, You Don't See the Dead." Moody and riff-tastic, To Kill Achilles continue to showcase their innate passion and ability to open up in ways that are basically, at least from my perspective, difficult to comprehend unless you've lived it. It is tracks like this that are capable of creating a connection that stay with you long afterwards.
Absolutely huge riff at the start.
Yep.
That's That's a pit opener if I've ever heard one. You know, you got that sort of bass solo, which I am always all for. It's got the big palm muted beatdowny sections in the verse, and I was like, oh, that's heavy for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the heavier songs, even like if you don't really see it at first, but you got the really nice lead, and when it speeds up in the verses, you're like, oh, that's got some good flow to it.
No,
Guy writes really good lyrics with flow, which is difficult.
I agree with what you're saying. One of the things my takeaway from it is it's got a moodiness to it that I hadn't noticed elsewhere at all. What are we up to now? Agnostic. Haunting and pretty. The melody of this one is what makes this one very special. I love it. And the cool thing is it's short, so it doesn't overstay its welcome. That's an important thing. If this been a 4-minute track, we might have run into bother. That's not the case at all.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. If that had been like 4 minutes, this is kind of the thing when bands do slower songs, obviously you're going to end up with longer run times for them because they are slower. But this doesn't, and I appreciate that. The piano aspect of it, really, really like it. When it kind of gets a bit more isolated at the end, it's great.
Yep.
I like it a lot.
Still nothing negative to say yet. Maybe we'll get something now. On My Mind, catchy and ardent metal rhythm. This one's a bit different too. What we've heard before is the guitars have a lighter and brighter tone, even though the vocals are screaming and screeching in the same harsh way. Again, I really like it.
I've got no issues. It's a great song. One of the best songs on the album, I think.
Okay.
Really nice guitar work. And you mentioned the kind of lighter tones, and I agree. The guitar tones are really nice here. Different, and I'm fine with that. And I really like the chorus as well. You got the really nice lead pattern. They seem to do that really well. Their guitarist is great at writing leads and combining them with big rhythmy sections, and they don't feel out of place. They're tucked in quite nicely.
We should know as well, hopefully it's been coming through as we talk, but this album has more variety than you might expect. You know, your expectation that it's just going to be 10, 12 tracks of just pounding metalcore, post-hardcore-esque stuff is not the case here. There is a surprising amount of variety in the musical structure of it. There's no right way to say this. Ferocious post-groove that's hot, but with the cooling breeze of To Kill Achilles' innate ability to make it sound so very meaningful. Music like this feels like it matters.
Yeah, no, I see. Once again, one of my favorites, that I am tired alone again at the start. And I'm like, wow, it slows down completely. You've got the nice guitar. They combine it really well, because then it starts speeding up and then it goes back down, and it's on the line and fall asleep without drinking myself blind. And it because it's so like, ooh, it makes sense. It kind of feels like how you'd expect to be feeling. It's like heart palpitations and anxiety you get with it. I really like it. Again,
awesome. Venom. This is a track to let loose to, a pit starter if ever there was one. We've used that term just several times already. It's a snarling and spitting beast of a track that may not have the thought-provoking edge of a lot of the other tracks in the album, but is still undeniably enjoyable. When it comes down to it, who doesn't love a bit of uncouth chaos every now and then?
Yeah, one of the heaviest songs I really like. It's got a really interesting lead tone. It's a bit less kind of a bit less bouncy and atmospheric, and more like it's closer. If this makes sense at all, it's closer in the mix. Everything else is a bit like tucked back and more echoey, and this one just isn't. I really like that. But yeah, definitely a pit starter.
Agreed. Again, it's different on this album at this stage. We only exist when we exist together. I adore this track. The distant and shouted vocal style with that repetitive, eerie guitar tone makes for a truly exceptional effort. This one really took me by surprise, because I was kind of like, okay. And it's just like, no, I fucking love this. I loved it. I'm listening to this one over and over again. Didn't expect to love it in quite the way I do, but it still stands out as one of my favorite on the album.
yeah, I really, really like the lyrics, the kind of story he's telling, the super meaningful, and you can really tell in the delivery.
Yep.
Like the whole thing. I haven't got much to say. It's just really fucking good. Go listen to it.
That's the thing. You're not wrong. I wrote a line and a half. I've added a bit more there at the end from the top of my head, but I wrote a line and a half. Well, it simply is this. I fucking love this track. That's it. Sometimes it's as simple as that. And sometimes, particularly when you've got what has got a lot of tracks on it, but isn't necessarily a long album.
Yeah.
We're near the end now. We've got 2136. Both. This is a fascinating track for me. This is as wild as the band can be and as mellow. It shows the opposite ends of To Kill Achilles and just how brilliant they can be, regardless of the direction they choose to take. The fact this is all in one track stuns me.
I wrote something pretty similar. I said it combines everything that is good about To Kill Achilles into one song.
Yeah.
And I actually wrote that. So, you know, I really, really like the melodies and like the verses and stuff. And that chorus, man, I love it. It's really good. I don't have, like, I've written stuff, but it's like I can't explain how much I love it.
I think we are. That's the thing, as we talk through these many tracks, speaking as positively about what the band does musically and how it makes us feel. How more positive can we possibly be without just repeating the word love over and over and over and over again? Which I'm going to do again here anyway. It's Beautiful Morning. Chunky riffs are the name of the game here, and help make this track another memorable effort. It's another one I love. Penultimate track, love it.
I said it's a really good song. I don't have loads to say, but it might end up being a little bit of a skip for me generally. I think with everything and how amazing this album is, this one falls a little bit short of the mark.
I don't disagree. I think there's what you have is almost an album of 10 out of 10 tracks, and then you get something like this that's a 9.
Yeah, exactly. I still love it, but
yes.
To the standard of fucking everything else, I put everything else on this massive pedestal, and it's this song. It's like, this is good. I enjoy this, but I'm gonna go listen to Oh God, I've Never Felt This Low.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's sandwiched in between 2136 and the finale of the title track, Something to Remember Me By. What an ending this is. A raw, lo-fi recording style, strumming acoustic guitar and strained vocals. It is a very unique closer, and I couldn't have thought of anything better to put there as a finale.
Yeah, it makes sense for the album. It slows down everything massively, and it's heartbreaking. And the delivery and the lyrics, it's like, fuck, that hurts. You know, it ends everything quite nicely. I mean, not really. It's a nice song, but it's quite sad.
Of course.
And then you've got like the last line on the song, which is just like a token or just something to remember me by, and you're like, but yeah, it's great.
It is. What an album by this band. What an absolute statement. If you've not had the opportunity to check out To Kill Achilles, you know, this is only a year old. It's not even a year old, in fact. No, it is. It is.
It's like a year and a couple months old.
Yeah, February 2021. But doesn't mean anything, man. If you're still listening to albums from 30 years ago, you can certainly pull this one out and check it out. It's not so long that you can't spend 35 minutes with it. More than worth your time. I am fascinated to see what will come from To Kill Achilles in the future, because I think they've set such a high bar here. It's going to
definitely.
Absolutely, hopefully as incredible, or just potentially something different.
Absolutely. All right, do you want your top 3?
Yeah, okay, right.
Yeah.
All right, mine, I've gone for In Vain. Oh God, I've Never Felt This Low. We Only Exist When We Exist Together. Could be right. Easily another 6 or 7. Easily.
Yeah. There's so many to pick from, but I was thinking about it. I will go for Luna et Altum, mainly because of that piano reprisal at the end. I adore it.
Yep.
Oh God, I've Never Felt This Low, and 4%, because I absolutely love that song.
Okay, but again, it's the same with you, right? Most of the tracks could have been top 3.
Literally. Pretty much, I would have happily. I could literally just pull like 3 random tracks out of my ass and I've been like, yeah, cool, these 3. You know.
It's one where, like, when you're showing a friend or a loved one or whatever this album, when you're trying to get them into it, you know, you're not going to struggle for a choice
No.
what you could play them to showcase it.
Mm-hmm. I get you 100%. I just like give them the album, just like listen.
Yeah, just listen to the whole bloody thing, man. Exactly. Just do that. If this is your first chance to go around it, take our word for it. We do love this album, and we think we're right on the money with it. It is something to remember me by. If you've got any thoughts that perhaps you love as much as we do, or perhaps you've got some critical words to say about it, you know what to do. Drop it in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please help us out by giving us a thumbs up and hitting that subscribe button. If you really liked what you saw, consider donating to keep the website and channel running by buying us a coffee via our coffee page or picking up some merch from our Big Cartel store. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as via our social media, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, as well as listen to our interviews via SoundCloud, Apple Music and Spotify. Just search for GBHBL. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?